So remember when I said, certainly Theramore and Dustwallow Marsh has enough to keep us occupied? Neither do I. That'd be such a crazy thing to say, like, absolutely wild. Like, there's so much going on here, I don't think that a single video can really get it all, and no, don't look at the length of the video, that's not important. Also, oh my god, I really need to start watching these after I export them. Like, just look at all that crunch that this video has. Yeah, that's that good shit. Now, would you believe me if I told you that the missing diplomat quests are nearly half of what makes this place interesting?
See you later.
Because they are. We've been getting pointed here from various people all around the world. This one dwarf lady from Ironforge wanted us to come here as this great doctor named Gustav van Hausen is currently here. Damn, dude. Something, chief physician of Alliance Trauma, something, big important doctor lad, something. He gives us a nice little stress-free test so that we can show him that we really know what we're doing when it comes to providing first aid. As long as 6 patients don't die, you pass. Hooray! Wait, did you say die? We're really going to be playing with people's lives for a test? Like, sure, this weeds out the ones that aren't serious about being a doctor, but what are you doing if the one that's about to perform life-saving first aid starts mumbling like, God, was it supposed to go like this, or like this? Wait, no, that's for something else. This is this, and maybe we do. Like, I think I'd just be saying my prayers to any god that'll listen at that point. But good news, everyone! I passed, and we only had 1 guy die in the process. Fuck. But let's not dwell on those poor souls we couldn't save. That poor soul we couldn't save. We have other things to worry about, like visiting Angus Stern's nephew, Morgan. Angus wants to learn all about the various recipes that Morgan's learned at his time in Theramore, and wouldn't you know it, he's got some spicy shit. Mudrock soup and bugs. Wait, what? Yeah, apparently that's just what this shit's called, and it's apparently great. I think I'll just take your word for it. All Morgan needs from us is to get all of the main ingredients. We're really just going to be doing all of the work again. For starters, we're to gather tongues from the local mudrock turtles, but not just any tongues. They have to be forked, as apparently they have a very distinct flavor to them. What the fuck was that voice? As we go about culling the local turtle population for these tongues, I seriously start considering cutting these tongues ourselves. Like, what's stopping us from cutting them right down the middle and presenting them like, hey, here's your forked tongues, my guy. They're definitely all exactly what you asked for. Yeah, there's no way that'd work. It'd be obvious as fuck. But while out collecting these bits, we stumble across a lad surrounded by raptors. He's really just chilling out here without a care in the world. It's like he belongs here. Stinky Ignat's here. Shit, with a nickname like that, maybe he does belong here. Well, he was out here collecting bogbean leaves for our boy Morgan Stern back in Theramore and has since gotten lost and completely surrounded. He needs our assistance to not only get out, but also to guard him while looking for these leaves. Easy enough, I mean, everything's pretty much dead already. What's that sound? There's something around here. But where? I know you're here, just show yourself and... Just a spider. Great. Well, we sent your boy Stinky on his way and eventually meet back up with Morgan to update him on saving his... assistant? Fuck, I don't know, man. And come back much later to return the tongues as well. So many turtles were killed for these, my guy. You better be thankful. With 1 ingredient delivered, all we need now are the bugs. Or in this case, crab legs, but only very specific ones from the Swamp of Sorrows. The, other swamp in the game that's all the way on the other continent and not even close to here. Yeah, we'll get back to you on that. In our travels around the marsh, we'd also come across this big ol' ogre friend named Mudcrush Dirtfeet. Mud big ogre, me hungry, go bash fishy. Bring mud food. You feed mud or mud eat you. What the fuck was that voice? God damn. Well, we can't argue with that logic. I don't want to get eaten today. Pulling Murlocs out of these camps is always so sketchy. It's like disarming a bomb. Not that I've ever done that, but shut up. Like, you'll be pulling these bubs away one by one, but one time you'll just get, oh god, oh shit, oh jeez. I'm having a lovely time over here. We just gotta make sure to not pull too many or... Lad's out here giving me a heart attack. I thought all those guys were on me. Like, what do you mean? Me like fishy head, me no eat you now. He has such a way with words. This marsh is really just filled with wild characters. Like, not only do we have that guy running around, or I guess standing around in his case, but we've also got this bish named Swamp Eye Jarl, who's really something else. He first needs us to get some spoot. Holy shit, dude. He first needs us to get him some soothing spices to make him some stew, which, easy enough. Here you go, bud. Though next, he needs unpopped spider eyes to drink the juices. But also be sure to keep the ones that look back at you because they can be your friends. This lad's absolutely lost in the sauce, holy shit. But we go about grabbing our spider eyes from these spider lads, we listen to the voices and enter this cave, but then promptly leave when we realize that we're way out of our element in there. Besides, caves are sketchy as fuck, my guy. In returning to Jarl Balgruff of White... Fuck. Something interesting happened. Normally when you turn something in, you just get the starting page to the next quest, but nope, we just auto-accepted and went right into the next one. So we go from handing in these eyes to him just looking us straight into our soul and saying, "Where's my blade?" You're what? You never mentioned a blade before, my guy, but but what he needs is a moonsteel broadsword made by a blacksmith. He needs to use it to cut something, but he can't tell us what it is. But though whatever it is, it won't last long, so he needs it quickly. Hell yeah, something I can actually make. Though I think you're gonna have to wait on that, buddy. I'm not good enough to make it yet. Though, this whole time we were here, there was this weird pile of dirt next to his house. Lad just straight up buried a dead orc in his yard. We're just not gonna ask him why that's there? Why he's just got this orc buried next to his house? Really? So anyways, we bring this information to the proper authorities, but not because this lad just murdered somebody and tried to hide the evidence. Nah, we need someone that can read Orcish, and who other than your boy, Captain Garen Vimes, to do the job. He takes this note that we found on the orc and reads it over and is like, "Damn dude, this was a good spy. Lucky that he was taken care of. We'll tighten up patrols for a while, thanks." That's it? Like, we bring you this information that you could send us off to look into, like, go maybe find a couple more of these orc scouts and take them out, but instead you just say, "Thanks, we'll look into it." Really? Aside from the missing diplomat, there's just one other quest line that caught my interest here in Dustwallow Marsh. We'd been sent here to check up on somebody named James Heil, as a friend of his, but also his brother Vincent wanted to check up on him and make sure he was doing okay. James had apparently left some time ago to set up an inn near the border of Dustwallow Marsh and the neighboring barrens. As we ask around Theramore, we come across Kirk Lendry as he tells us about this Shady Rest Inn incident. Though, he points us to Captain Vimes as he can tell us more. Oh great, this guy again. The captain tells us that James had made this inn and Vimes had cautioned him to leave as they'd lost control of the roads to the ogres. However, James was too stubborn to leave and ultimately his inn was burned to the ground. Though he'd survived, his wife and child weren't so lucky. He's back at Theramore now, but hasn't been the same ever since then. Anymore, he drinks himself silly with the nickname Smiling Jim. As we're speaking with Vimes, he tells us that if we want to look into it ourselves, the remains of the inn are still there to dig through. After traversing the rather sketchy wilds of Dustwallow Marsh, we eventually make it to the inn and begin looking around. The first thing we find is a Theramore badge belonging to someone named Lieutenant Pavel Wreath. We pocket it for now and turn our attention to this large blackened shield sitting up upon the mantle of the fireplace. Taking this as well, we continue our search for clues before coming across hoofprints leading away from the inn, and I don't know about you, but these really don't look like hoofprints to me. Like, what kind of hooves have you been seeing? God. Collecting these bits of evidence, we bring them all back to Captain Vibes. Collecting these bits of evidence, we bring them all back to Captain Vimes. The hoofprints don't get us a whole lot, as Vimes suspects that they could just be from the local centaur. Apparently there had been a good bit of activity around the Barrens lately. He'll have one of his best trackers look into it. Gee, doesn't that sound familiar? He doesn't have much to say on the shield either, but points us to the town smith to take a look at it. Surely he'd be able to find out more than we can just by looking at it. Finally though, we're brought to this badge, and while Captain Vimes doesn't personally know of a Wreath, he's sure that Adjutant Tesseran would, though Wreath is currently listed as missing. From what Vimes can tell us, that's just Tesseran's nice way of saying that they're a traitor. This Wreath is likely one of the many deserters that now squat around an abandoned tower in the marsh called Lost Point. Their leader's name is Jackin, and we can likely get our information from him. Definitely in a not violent way, I assure you. So we beat the absolute shit out of him in front of all of his men until he tells us where Wreath is. Apparently they kicked him out a while ago as he was bent upon raiding supplies from the nearby Horde base called Brackenwall Village. He'd crossed the line far too many times, and now they'd finally left him to fend for himself. As we bring this information back to Vimes, we're once again told that he'll get somebody look into this and find Wreath. Does this guy do anything? Though surely this last bit will get us somewhere. We bring the shield down to Kaz Two-Sprocket, the town smith, and he takes a good look at it. While it takes him a moment to notice, he realizes that the burnt-off leather straps would suggest that someone big must have been using this. Specifically, likely a Tauren, but aside from that, he's really not sure. Once again, we bring this news back to Vimes, and he really doesn't know how this will help the investigation, though he'll keep that in mind. And that's it? There's no resolution? There's no way to find Wreath? That's honestly kind of disappointing if I'm being honest. Though the quest ends here, I have a theory. A game theory! My thought is that after Wreath was thrown out of Lost Point, he continued on raiding Brackenwall Village, but now had nowhere else to hide. Thus, likely used the inn as his new place to hide out. Well, likely the Horde found out about this and went to deal with Wreath, burning the inn down in the process. It'd explain the shield and hoofprints if it was a Tauren that did it, though I don't know why they just leave their shield up on the mantle. Fuck, I don't know, man. I'm sure the Horde side of this zone has a bit more on this, but I personally don't really want to look it up just yet. I'd like to see it all firsthand, assuming that there is indeed more. Though, if there isn't, that's, honestly pretty disappointing. But that's mostly it, really. All that's really left are two quests, one that I'm not good enough to do yet, and another that just, I honestly don't really want to fuck with either. Swamp of Sorrows just sounds rough as hell, man. Maybe, since this didn't really help us all that much, maybe it's time to actually fall back onto my original plan and venture down into the jungles of Stranglethorn. Before ending though, I would like to thank those of you who watched to the very end. It makes me happy to see that people are actually invested in these dumb little videos I've been putting together. I really appreciate it, along with the nice comments that you've all been leaving along the way. They honestly make my day and get me excited to work on the next video, so thank you. I appreciate you.